Hi, it's Lori at Positive Thanks Living. Today we're going to make a little journal, a little notebook made from cardstock. And I've made 14 of this style. And I know how it comes together quite well. So I thought I'd demonstrate to you and we can make one together. Here we go. Here are all the items that go into it. I'll also have a kit and the booklet that we make today available on Etsy. Starting with 8.5 by 11 cardstock. This is the Recollections paper from Michael's Craft Color. We'll use one piece and fold up the ends to make the pockets. Starting lengthwise, you're going to score at 6.25 inches, or you can just fold it. You don't have to have a scoring board. And then turn it, and you're going to do the side scores. I have a little lip there of 3/4 inches on each side so that it's sturdy when you open and close the book, and also sturdy when you put in the grommet or the eyelet. Now you don't have to put an eyelet in. I've just done it as a pretty thing. I'm also including an envelope in there, so. Here we go scoring. This is at 10.25 inches for one side and 3/4 inches at the other. All the way down. Then we score on the halfway point, 5.5 inches. So you have 3 scores and a 4th for the pocket, where the pocket folds up. There we go. Folding up the pocket. Folding in the sides. Now you want the least amount of bulk. So we're going to cut away the 2 pocket area sides. And the pockets are separate, so we're also going to cut along the fold in a V shape, slight V, not a lot, just a little, a wedge, maybe that's a better term. We're cutting away what will be the pocket as we fold up. Less bulk. And then we're cutting down that middle wedge also, just a slight V. So as the booklet opens and closes, that extra bulk isn't there. See? It'll fold easily. I'm just working on making this straight. Now we're going to glue. I'm using art glitter glue. You use whatever glue you have. It's my preferred glue. I'm going to glue down the edges, the sides, and then fold up the pocket. Whatever glue you use, make sure that it will hold well. You don't want anything catching. I'm using my bone folder just to make sure it's nice and flat and well adhered. And the other side, the same. After that, we're going to fold up the pockets and glue them. Now here, I've forgotten that I want to do a notch or a divot. And I'm also going to cut away the little imperfections that I missed when I first cut, just to make sure that it works well. And I'm gluing this pocket, and then I'll think about the fact that, oh, I forgot. And I go find my punch. And it's a circle punch. I just do a little divot with the circle the way you're looking at it. And you don't have to do that. That's not necessary. I like the look of it, that's why. Almost forgot again. And punch. Closing up the glue bottle. And the shell of the notebook is done. Now we're going to put in a grommet or an eyelet. And again, you don't have to put that in. I choose to because I think it's pretty. Oh, wait. We're going to round the corners. That's what we're going to do first. I like rounded corners on projects. In my own aesthetic, I think that rounded corners make it look more finished. You don't have to. The kit I'm including is going to have everything you need to make a second kind of booklet like this. Now we're talking about the grommet. I actually did this video live, and for some reason my speaking got mixed up during the editing stage, so I'm doing a voiceover now. I have this grommet style, eyelet style, I purchased from Amazon, and it has both the grommet and a little circle. And for me, that's worked really well. I'm using the crocodile, the big one, and I'm cutting with I'm punching the larger hole, measuring, eyeballing around what would be the middle. So I punch the hole, and then I put this eyelet grommet through, and the little circle bit on the opposite side. And then I'm going to use the crocodile to mush the two together. Yeah, to fix the grommet into place. And for me, I found this the easiest, most likely to work well. I start on the one side and I push it halfway down. Just see here a little crunch. Then I turn it and see it's very smooth. And I turn it to the opposite side and I push it all the way down. And there we have the eyelet hole. Now you could just make a hole punch and put some paper reinforcements on either side too, if you don't have a crocodile or a grommet setter. That's up to you. And now we're going to put the paper in the middle. This is the paper I'm using. It's a Southworth paper that is this resume style. It's a pretty creamy color. And it's 8.5 by 11. I'm going to show you how I cut it and put it together so we can make one signature. There's the paper. I fold it in half. And I cut it. Now I use this guillotine or guillotine because I have an issue cutting straight with a scissor, and even those paper cutters that slide, doesn't work for me. And obviously it is user error. Other people do it just fine. But for me, this guillotine, it works so well. It's lorry proof. It works. And I usually put 5 sheets so that we have 10 altogether in the signature. But I've done 10 sheets, so 20 pages. That works too. I'll be including this paper in the kit that's available. I've only made one kit. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below if you'd like. If it's sold and you'd like another kit, I can make another up. I have a lot of the implements available. Now we're going to sew in our signature. I'm using waxed linen thread. Works best for me with an awl. I'm putting 3 holes for a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. The middle first, just pushing it through. I'm just eyeballing. I'm not even paper clipping the pages down. I've done a number of these, so I'm pretty familiar with how this works. And I'm being courageous by doing it while I'm recording. I have a little bit of a problem, but nothing major. I'm also including some of this wax linen thread in the one kit that will be in Etsy with the completed journal that you see here. So you put the second hole up or down, whichever you choose. I leave my tails in the middle, so you start by going through the middle to the out. And then from outside in, all the way down to the 3rd hole. And then back through the middle hole. Be careful not to split the original thread. And the idea is that it comes through and you have one of the tail on one side of the long piece in the middle and one on the other, and you tie a knot. Nice and taut. I'm checking to see if it's taut, but I hadn't tied it yet, so it was hard to see. And one knot one way, second knot the other, checking the tautness, and a third, just for luck. And I tie this in a bow. On some of the 14 that I made, I had the tail dangling, but because it's such a small journal, notebook, it didn't work as well, so I left it tied in a bow. You can do whatever you like. And I'm going to round the corners of the paper. But I won't do it on screen, because in the original recording, I didn't want you to have to hear that clack, clack, clack of. We have 2 pockets, one on the front, one on the back, and the paper in the middle. Now we're going to decorate the top part. And I've used a darker brown cardstock and an embossing folder. The embossing folder is, looks like a tree trunk. And I use my small embosser. I do have a larger one, but I find that it breaks the paper more. This one works well for me. In the kit, I'm also including 2 of these embossed pieces. so you can make your own. Do you emboss? I don't know. I like embossing, but I have to admit that I often forget that that's an option. I use the extras to make tags from what I cut off of the darker brown. I'm explaining something about the embossing card. Oh, I know. One side is the raised and one is the de-embossed. And I add that extra piece of cardstock because I find that when I put it through this embosser, it isn't quite deep enough. And that works well. So that's an option if you ever emboss things. You can add a little extra bulk to make the embossing deeper. That's how quick it goes. And of course I'm going to have to round the corners on this before I put it on the front. I use this piece to make a pocket so I can slip a tag behind it. You don't have to. It was just a fun detail that I added. You could put a divot in there. I didn't. And I'm gluing down now the 3 sides using art glitter glue. And again, only 3 sides because you want to be able to slip something in the top. You could choose to glue 3 sides and put it in the side. This is a pad of paper that I purchased. This is from Michael's, Cottage Flowers. I love the images and the cut-aparts. So I'm going to use the cut-aparts to decorate this finished journal. I'm just showing you some of the papers that are in there. I'll be sending along a page of the cut-aparts in the kit, so you can decorate the second journal that you make as you choose. And the reason I'm choosing to offer a kit is that this is a good option for someone who's just starting out. So maybe you don't have all these papers and all these little die cuts, if you can count a die cut that is made on the Cricut, or you don't have the ribbon or the seam binding, or it's a good kit if you're going somewhere and you want to take something along to do. I'm trying to decide what to put on there on the front. This cutout is my first choice. And I realize I'm going to have to cut off the end because it's obviously too wide. But I make use of it on the inside. You'll see later. I'm choosing to do it 3/4 of the way down because I wanted to highlight the embossed portion that looks like a tree trunk, like a, I don't know what it's called, the round part in a tree trunk often has. Getting the lid on this glue bottle is frustrating. Now we have our friend. And I reinforce the spine with lace. You could use fabric too. I'm including enough lace in there to do in the kit to do what you see me doing here. And I place the lace on the middle spine so that it's more secure. The bending back and forth is supported. One of the reasons I like art glitter glue is it dries clear. A little more glue to secure it, and I'll trim it afterward. I try to put just the right amount of glue on, not too much. And here's the finished, the completed part. I made some journaling cards to go in the middle. That's an envelope. So there's a template of an envelope in the kit and you get a postcard from North Carolina and the little paper clip, hidden paper clip. I have all kinds of the little acorn and oak die cuts from our daughter Sarah's Cricut, and the back has another pocket with a tag. That's from the recollections. I have to put a seam binding ribbon in there to close it. Yep, there's the whole kit with everything that you get. I'm explaining about the little pieces, enough seam binding and lace and some extra tags and the embossed items for front and envelopes and another postcard, little bits and pieces, the grommet and bulb pins I made with a little metal acorn. They're in there. And you don't have to use it, but if you want to, you can. And I think there's 10 pieces of paper. That's the inside paper, and 2 light cardstock, 2 dark cardstock, and one of the cut apart embellishments I'm going to include in the kit. I'll secure them all together and they're ready to send away to whoever'd like to have this. All the details are below. And I'm sending along a little glue bottle. I wanted one, and I could only find a package with 40 of them. So, yeah, I'll be giving them away. It has a nice thin nozzle, so you can put your glue in. Take care. It's Lori, A Positive Thanks Living. Thank you to all the new subscribers. And I really appreciate spending time with you. Next, you're going to see static pictures of the whole process. I tried to include them so it was a little more clear, close up, the measurements, so that it's easier and you can see and take your time. This was an easy project to come together, and you can make this in a day or a couple hours at the most. Below you'll also find a list of all the implements, and I have a downloadable handout, page with all the what you're going to need and the measurements and details. That's free. You can get it on my website where I write, so the link is below. I'll include a list of all the implements I used, all the tools I used, and all the items that go into making it. I wish you well. I wish you happy crafting. Enjoy playing with paper. This is the seam binding ribbon that I used. And pretty soon I'm going to show you all that goes in the kit. That's what we finished. This is all the stuff that comes in the little kit that I'll be sending to one person. It's available on Etsy. Take care. It's Lori at Positive Thanks Living. See you again soon. Bye for now.